Have you ever watched a sunset and wished it could last a little longer? Maybe too long? Well, today on Specvio we're diving into a wild what if. How long can a human actually extend a sunset while obeying the speed limit and only driving on normal paved roads? No airplanes, no rockets, just you, your car, and the spinning earth. This gets a little weird. What counts as a sunset? Before we hit the road, we need to lay down some rules. Sunset begins when the sun first touches the horizon. Sunset ends the moment the last sliver disappears. Anything else? No, doesn't count. What if the sun sets behind a hill? Not a sunset. What if it slips behind a nearby building? Still not sunset. What if you climbed a hill and re-emerged the sun? Nice try, but still no sunset. For that to be valid, the sun would have to touch the true horizon. Clear, distant, perfect. At the equator, the average sunset lasts about 2 minutes. At mid-latitudes like New York or Paris, you get 3 to 5 minutes. Pretty short. Unless you move. Why can't you just chase the sun in a car? At the latitude of New York City, the Earth's surface is spinning eastward at about 850 miles per hour. If you hopped on a commercial jet flying west, you could essentially cancel the Earth's rotation and stretch out the sunset for hours. But when would you replace that jet with a car? No dice. Even at high northern latitudes, you'll need to drive west at a speed that no highway would allow. So the classic chasing the sun into the sunset idea just doesn't work. So where can you do it? You might think the poles are perfect, where the sun barely moves across the sky. But there's a problem. There's no paved road anywhere near the actual poles. The closest legal paved road opportunities are no longer in Svalbard because we're changing our locations. So let's move our experience to a remote, cold, and downright traumatic place, northern Alaska. Dalton Highway. The Dalton is a long, lonely paved highway that goes deep into the Arctic. While not at the pole itself, it gets close enough to be magical on those days when the sun barely sets. At these latitudes, the day line, the boundary between day and night, moves strangely across the map. It twists, bends, slows down, reverses, then goes the other way. And that's where our strategy begins. The trick: don't drive west, drive north. This part is mind-bending. If you are far enough north on a day when the sun is barely dipping below the horizon, the day-night line actually moves northwest, gives stops, gives then southwest. So here's your move. Wait in your car until the sun first touches the horizon. That means the day-night boundary is about to pass overhead. Start driving north. By heading toward an area where the sun hasn't fully set yet, you dramatically slow down the sunset. Keep driving north for as long as possible. As long as you're driving over the limit, the sun stays in sun mode. Finally, turn around and drive south when the sun finally slips below the horizon. This doesn't stop the sunset, but it does stretch it out like a taffy. So what's the longest sunset you can get? After running simulations using highway maps, elevation profiles, and Arctic sunlight geometry, the best route I could find along the Dalton Highway produced a sunset that lasted it's over an hour and a half, and much longer than a stationary sunset anywhere else on Earth. You're not flying. You're not breaking the law. You're just driving with perfect timing, in the perfect place. That is, as far as we know, the longest possible legal sunset you can experience in a car. Can you do better? If you're stuck in Alaska, and you're desperate to squeeze a few extra seconds out of the moment, you could technically try spinning counterclockwise in a parking lot. It won't actually change the Earth's rotation, but your angular momentum might give you a microscopic delay. But realistic. 95 minutes is about as magical as it gets. So the next time you watch the sun slip below the horizon and think it's over too soon, remember, somewhere high in the Arctic, you could be driving through a sunset that lasts longer than a TV movie. If you enjoyed this wild what if, hit that like button, subscribe to Specvio, and tell me, what weird trends should we try to push, break, or explore? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Stay curious. Be imaginative. Be Specvio.